Why do you so often feel like no matter how much you do, how much you accomplish, how much you achieve, how successful you are, that you still don't feel good enough? What's going on with that? Why does that happen? Well, today we're going to talk about exactly what's going on with that, why this is happening, and what you can do to change this one around. We're actually going to do an exercise in this video today. So you're going to have to be involved in this one in order for it to have the impact, to make the difference, and to switch your brain when it comes to feeling and thinking that you are good enough. If you're new to me and this is the first time we're connecting, I am so glad you're here. And if you're not new to me, I am also so glad that you are here. If you haven't, make sure you hit the subscribe button. It's the red button. It's on one of these sides down there. And if you don't know who I am, my name is Kristina, and I am a master mindset coach. I'm a therapist, I'm a researcher, and I'm the creator of the Breakthrough Coaching Program. I have a master's degree in counseling psychology, and I work to help heart-centered go-getter men and women get through worry, anxiety, and self-doubt so that they can step up and step into their lives and love their lives and have the lives that they want and that they deserve. And so what is this exercise? What am I going to ask you to do? So right now, as uncomfortable as it might be, I'm going to invite you to sit and just think about one of your self-critical thoughts. And you can call these like your gremlins. We all have these gremlins, these self-critical, self-defeating, negative thoughts about ourselves. But more often than not, most of us have like one or two big ones that like to come up. When we're feeling vulnerable, when we are feeling emotional, when we are dealing with something challenging, when we're in a time of struggle. And these gremlins like to come up and take over and like to tell us really not very nice things about ourselves. So what's one of them? Is it that you're not smart enough, or that you're stupid, or that you don't have what it takes, or that you're just too selfish, that you're unlovable, that you're not worthy? What is it? What is one of those gremlins that likes to come up and knock you down, take you down, and keep you down? I want you to think about it. And then what I want you to do is I want you to go into the comment section below, and I want you to write down what that gremlin is. One of them, not all of them, just one. Just pick one right now, go down to the comment section, write it in the comment section below. And then what I want you to do, you're gonna need to press pause. So press pause, go down there, write it down. And now when you come back, I want you to press pause again in just a second, and I want you to go through all of the other comments that other people have made, and I want you to push the like button, like the thumbs up button, next to every single one of those thoughts or self-critical statements that you have had yourself at some point in your life. And I want you to even affirm that person that they're not alone in that thought by writing below their little self-critical statement, me too. If you have had that thought, I want you to write in there, me too. So pause right now and go and do that. If you haven't written down your self-critical statement, if you watched the video, kept watching, write that down now and then pause it, and also go and write the me too and hit the little thumbs up next to any of those self-critical statements that other people have had that you have also had at some point. And now that you're back, I want you to take note of the fact, I want you to look at your comment and how many people affirmed and said that they have had your same self-critical thought. I want you to take note of how many people have had that. And I also want you to take note of how many of the other ones that other people have had that you have also had, and how many other people have had those same self-critical thoughts as well. And what this shows, it's actually called the common thoughts of shame, that every single human being, even people who have come from intact families, who haven't had any significant trauma, who haven't had anything really terrible happen to them in their lives, who had intact, healthy, supportive families, still have these negative, self-critical, self-judgmental thoughts about themselves, which means that this is part of the human experience. This is kind of wired in to the human brain. And research shows that originally in that reptilian brain, in that ancient part of our brain, this negative bias, this self-critical bias was originally used for our protection. It originally was part of our survival instinct, because if we were always sort of thinking about whether or not we're good enough, whether or not we fit the bill, whether or not people like us, whether or not we're worthy, whether or not we fit in and belong, if we're always thinking about that, then we're always trying to make sure that people do like us, that we are acceptable, that we will not be rejected. Because back in like long time ago, in like caveman days, being rejected from the group, being seen as inferior or not good enough or not acceptable, meant that you would be rejected from the group, rejected from the clan, rejected from the tribe. You'd be sent out on your own, and you actually could not survive on your own. Some kind of wild animal or the elements in some way would actually kill you. You couldn't survive on your own. So you needed to be a part of things. You needed to make sure that you were acceptable in order to stay alive. And so that part of your brain is actually trying to keep you alive. Those self-critical thoughts are trying to keep you on guard to make sure that you're doing things to fit in, to belong, to be acceptable, to be good enough for the group, so that you don't get rejected, because rejection means utter death and destruction. But what our brain doesn't realize, and where it hasn't evolved to yet, is that that stuff is no longer necessary for our survival. That we don't need everyone to like and approve of us. We don't need to be the best. We don't need to hustle for our worthiness in order to survive. And so just knowing that this is part of this common humanity, part of this human experience, to have these thoughts go through your mind. These are not your thoughts. These are not you. These are not your thoughts. This is part of sort of the collective conscious. This is part of the makeup of the human brain. It's part of just how the human brain was made, originally for survival, but now it's just causing problems. And so if you can take a little bit of a step back and separate yourself from that, if you can actually just see like, oh, hey, brain, I see what you're trying to do. You're trying to protect me. You're trying to keep me alive, but actually, it's not going to keep me alive. It's actually believing these things and stressing about these things and getting, making my decisions, preventing myself from living my life and doing the things in my life that are important to me because of these things is actually slowly killing me. It's actually taking away my life. So thank you, brain, for keeping me alive, but that is no longer useful. That is no longer helpful. And it also really helps us detach from those thoughts, unattach from those thoughts, because we realize these are not my thoughts. These are just thoughts that the human brain likes to connect with, likes to cling to, likes to bring up, oftentimes at inopportune times when we're already feeling down or depleted or struggling or uncertain or feeling vulnerable. So thank your brain for trying to keep you alive, and then push it aside. Move it along and keep moving forward. This was actually an exercise that we did recently in my breakthrough coaching program with everyone in the group in there, and it was incredibly powerful. And so I wanted to share that with all of you as well, because it is such a powerful exercise for us to realize that we're not the only ones thinking these things. We're not the only ones who have these thoughts come up. It doesn't mean that we're weird or broken or flawed or not good enough or don't deserve it or unworthy because we have these thoughts. They don't mean anything. They're just thoughts. They're just part of our brain's makeup, trying to keep us alive, trying to keep us, they're for survival, but they're no longer necessary because it's part of that ancient brain. So let me know what shift you had with this. Let me know in the comment section below. I would love to hear. And if unattaching from your thoughts and not getting sort of pulled into all of your thoughts and all this stuff is something that you struggle with, I want you to get my free download. It's a 10-minute guided mindfulness exercise that really helps us just sort of like take a little bit of a space between us and our thoughts, because so often we think that we are our thoughts, but we are not our thoughts. We are the thinker of our thoughts. And we need to be able to take a little bit of a step back and separate ourselves from those thoughts, from not getting pulled along, dragged along, bumped along behind them. grab that download. It's my 10-minute guided mindfulness exercise. It's going to really help with learning how to do that. Like the video and share it out. If there's somebody else that you know that needs to hear this, that's like, oh my gosh, this just changed my life. This just changed everything. And you want somebody else to have that experience as well, so that they can stop with struggling so much with wondering what's wrong with them, or feeling like they're stuck in these thoughts, and to help them understand what's really going on here. Share this with them. And then let me know if you do, because I would love to thank you in the comment section below. Always good to have you here. Always good to connect with you. If you haven't subscribed, subscribe so that we can stay connected. And until next time, join my Facebook group, goodformegroup.com. Obviously you need to be there if you're not already, because everyone's in there. Until next time, take good care.